at a new place at the moment. It's a pretty late stream here, but we still wanted to do it for today. Honestly, I did not look at the time so much, just working it there, and yeah, just happy to do this stream. It's actually quite easy to stream. It's more about the habit. Like if you want to do it every day, you have to do it every day, and that's the tough part. But I figured that the quality of the content that we push is actually not so good. So we'll try and think like how can I best add value during the streams. To me at the moment it's more so just taking the habit of doing it every day, and then but I think we can up the content quite a bit. New mic, better camera, if we do more work around those. Anyway, what I did announce on Discord is we'll have some weekly recaps. Like basically, during a stream, I do a video on what happened during the week. So anyone that does not have time to catch up with the whole ecosystem can just look at this video and figure out for themselves. So I'm not going to do what happened on this, basically this week. I'm more going to cover on what's going to happen next week, which I'm really excited about. So one is the full product UI, including analytics and settings page. So it's basically just the full UI as you would expect, like on any app. Because today we really focus on the trading terminal. Obviously, we still have to push many different items and solve a bunch of bugs on the trading terminal that we still have. We're shipping HAP3, which should be today, tomorrow. So that means you'll be able to trade commodities and equities up to 4x leverage. We will have the global platform analytics. It's a big part of our ecosystem, but it's the ability to we show transparently what's going on in the ecosystem. So the revenue that we make, the pass rate of changes, anything that is opaque about other prop firms, that's what I call global platform analytics. You could argue it's transparency, and that's essentially this stuff, transparency. And why I want to have this is because we'll also have our first production deployments, which I'm excited about. This stuff, upcoming data. So we wanna get done with this. Aggregate equity on paper trading, trader P&L, trader positioning, like anything that's relevant to like transparency of the ecosystem, we'll have there. Obviously, we'll share with the community how and like the type of data they want to see, and make sure we push it. As well as, and that's something I haven't covered on Discord, but the referral program will have this like baked into the app, so that by the time we go live in prod, you have, which I expect to be Thursday, Friday. We'll also have free trial. So anyone that wants to try the app for free will be able to do it. Is basically buying a challenge with 100% discount, but obviously you can't access the funded phase. Also on the growth side, we will have a user-facing guide on how to use the app. Today, if you look at our docs, it's really investor-focused and seed round-focused. And we'll do improvements on the website, so it's a bit more user-centric. Today, it's a bit too investor-centric. And so yeah, that's basically the plan for next week. Something that I did discuss on Discord and I wanted to discuss here as well is you know what, I think last stream we did discuss about our like the vision of what we want to build beyond just the hyperliquid components. Is basically be a financing layer that you can trust across multi-assets or multi-markets, starting with hyperliquid and then expanding to other assets, basically anything that you can trade. And you know, I did want to ask the community what they feel about. We have this company that's called Solana Funded, which is basically a prop firm built on top of meme coins on Solana, and you know, I did survey the community quickly today on what do they think about this, and actually, the community is against. Well, against, like, is not in favor, and the proposal was that we push this forward. So instead of having this be in 6 months, let's say, we say, okay, we tackle this in the next 2-3 weeks. Obviously, we still have the you know, pro deployment, etc. But instead of working on optimizing the terminal, we implement this new market, which from a tech point of view is not so much of a lift. So I think there are a few pending items. It's not as linear as, you know, just, well, it's not as binary as saying, hey, we move forward or we don't move forward. Is we have to better understand the risks. So you know, doing a prop firm on top of a new market that does not provide any hedging, and that's a market that's very liquid. It's very tough to navigate and very risky to navigate. So, for example, but like, why I'm really interested in this is because we basically want to be that trust layer for funded accounts, and you know, people that want to access a different kind of leverage, which we know is not playing in their favor, but we want to at least provide something that's fair. For example, you know, one can argue, how can you trust this number, 45 million challenge accounts, when you know, when you know that, for example, I think the highest price on a challenge is 1,000, or like 1,500, and like, for example, they've got like 45K views, which means that every viewer would have purchased the highest ticket. And you just, I mean, it might be real. I don't really care. It's just, I think there's reasons to put a lot of doubts on this. And I also don't, I think the capital structure is interesting. And then if you come in with, you know, tech that's on par, because we can plug this market. Meme coin is not our like specialty. I've traded meme coins, but I'm not like scanning contracts on Palm Fund every day. I'm a bit too old for this at the moment. But anyway, I just think that there's lack of transparency and that we can quickly have an edge. And it's more of a growth tactic. So if the tech lift is not big, then, you know, why not try? And so I can already, So what I've basically done today is, I mean, amongst other things, is having a design for it, making sure we can get like a slick UX, but most importantly, managing the risks. It's also what makes me give like a lot of doubts on this Solana funded stuff. And again, like you have to trust. It's just in my opinion, but on day one, having 45 million in challenge account, sorry, it would be insane risk management wise, because that means, I'm not sure how they do that risk management, but if you allow for 45 million, you want to have that buffer in liquidity, and assuming that I assume they have like, well, I know for facts they don't just have crypto RAMs. It's like if you don't have the payment infrastructure, like you can be sure that if 45 million lands on your Stripe account, that stuff is not liquid, and it's not going to be super clear for you on how to withdraw. So just risk management tells me you basically can't make this happen. And I want to build an infrastructure where people don't have to trust, they can just verify that, for example, we hit certain numbers. And I think it's just something that I'm convinced that this structure is going to work. And I want to play a big role in this and provide a more transparent and fair infrastructure. So we're working on the designs, we're working on the just tech feasibility basically this morning, and then working on the risk management. So making sure you can structure something that's fair to traders, but also fair to us. And I think the last, but probably most complicated, is how do you make sure people are not able to game the system? So what's likely to happen is we will probably check on growth, how we make it happen. And as we do some updates on the website for it to be a bit more user-facing, we will probably do a waitlist type stuff where you get like 20% discount on the challenge accounts, or like you get a unique code. So we get a sense of the interest. And let's say we've got like 1,000 people on the waitlist, then I think this is worth building. And on the community, for example, the community not being happy with this, it's about me to convince them that this is worth pursuing and that this would not interfere with the Hyperliquid roadmap, because I did mention that anyway we have a lag time between, like the platform itself would be ready, like obviously we've got some bugs, but the platform itself would be ready to do funded accounts, and that's how we're planning to do it for April. But do actual A-booking, which is the current bulk of the backend work is going into it. So do replications on Hyperliquid accounts. But you anyway have this A to B booking phase, which is which means that in the most optimistic scenario, we start A booking traders in like June, and so we've got this lag, and I think it's just interesting to capitalize on this and just try it out. So what's likely to happen is next week you have we'll try and do some growth events. I'm excited about this. It's also challenging because it's still gonna be a big lift. Plus we've got we'll make an announcement tomorrow, but the seed round is on the 26th. So some work we're doing the dev internally, QAing this stuff, KYC, all of that. That's some interesting work. Now I wanted to discuss about the market quickly and what's the plan for this week. What's the plan for this week? And we have to say we've got a very boring market. So, all right. So, where we stand is we have BTC that had six green candles in a row on the back of Middle East conflicts. And so this is good strength. Like if you were to tell me the S&P is looking like this and crypto is printing 6 green candles on the daily, I'd be genuinely surprised. And that to me is a sign of very good relative strength. And we're currently short, so that means we're on the wrong side of the market. So what's the game plan? The game plan is I think there will be a push higher. The setup is just great for a push higher. But the issue is that this is still a range. So the way we've approached this since the start, it's essentially assuming that this was a range. And the challenge account, we're not sure when we started this, but we started this on basically a month ago in that range, and that played nicely. Obviously, we could have done a lot better. We're currently in a strong unrealized loss, but our invalidation is super close, and I think there is a big case to go long on the range breakout. And I think we have I'd be interested in flipping long next week, depending on what equities are doing and gas is doing. Gas and oil are doing. Because I do think if we have some kind of mean reversions, that's going to help the market get a lift. And then you can probably have what I'd be interested in taking as a trade is if we have 60 mid-range, essentially our entry, I'd be cutting even a rather small loss. So I'd be interested in taking a trade that looks like this into next week, and that trade would be band weekly open on the back of equities weakness, and potentially some fuckery in the market, and then taking this trade there mid range, and then shoot for higher. You want to keep it tight though, because things can reverse quickly. And we did highlight the fact that we weren't sure of the. We have to remember that this impulse was led by MSTR, STRC. So how much of this impulse is complete bullshit? So you can be wrong on this move. That's why you want to have strict risk management. Because if you can't hold 60, well, realistically, I would put the entry whenever I enter, but you will want for a reversal pattern mid-range and have your invalidation that's on. Well, we'll see how we play it, but I do think it's likely we get a range breakout at some point, unless something big happens, or something like really big happens. But realistically, it's safe to assume that at some point in the next few days, VIX is gonna drop, and there will be some kind of bounces on the indexes. If it's not next week, it's probably the week after, and we'll probably flip bias. You just can't, unless my read is totally wrong and indeed it was just STRC strength. But I think we flip long somewhere potentially midweek, or Monday is always a bit sketchy with the open, and I think, I got no clue how the market's going to react. But somewhere in like Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll take a long setup, tight risk management. But we do have our hype short. Hype really benefited from the oil moves and the volatility on the weekends. And so my view is that the expression of a hype short is to express that if things turn around, I'd probably be keeping my hype short against a pretty aggressive BTC long. So going, long short, and that will allow me to be a bit more aggressive on the BTC long, and potentially have wider invalidation on the BTC long, and the ratio would probably be, if we're today we're short 150k of hype, I would go long BTC with like 2x delta, so 450k BTC long, so 300k net exposure, which is 2x our equity. Because although we would play a bounce into the 80k or 85k, for example, I still do think that the high time frame is like, optimistically you can reach the 87, like those moving averages, but then you would roll over into the summer. I think I don't see a bull case for crypto specifically now. But what I'm sure though is between March and April, we'll be playing the long side at some point, and then going the opposite way. It's what I have in mind. Things can change, but usually I have like some have asked. Wait. Some have asked. Why don't I wait for the range lows? I think the market is probably not going to give range lows. And I would be inclined to believe that we just... I'm not sure what would need to happen to get range lows again. You just have to believe that we've had... well, maybe we can reverse. Honestly, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see with the tape. I haven't looked at the market. We basically haven't done any trades. Our BTC long was short. Sorry, is open since the 28th. So it's like 3 weeks now, which is pretty typical for me. And I was happy not to flip flip-flop so much. And if BTC just shoots up on Monday open, then we'll have to take the loss, I think, because you don't want to be caught in this whole move, naked short. But that would mean equities would have to, like, for this to happen, you need a bounce on equities. Even like a small bounce, but something that we had in before the drop in April, like between the 11th of March to like a 5% bounce would be sufficient for BTC to go, you know, if you give it 5% now, you know, close to all-time high, and I think BTC would go on a tier. That's my view at the moment. Honestly, it might change tomorrow. I haven't slept so much, but that's how I want to play with the challenge account. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Really exciting week next week on the product side. This is really exciting.